Toffee TV is the instant match reaction for Liverpool 3, Everton 1. Done it again, haven't we? We've done it again. We've gone to Anfield and we have just completely bottled it. And that's all you can really say, because this is a side that was our second Premier League defeat in 2017, and we're now in April. So it's not exactly a bad side. It's a team that's been winning games, picking up points. You know, it doesn't. You know, regardless of who it's against, we've been, playing well. Certainly at home, and today we just threw it all away again. And that half down to bad selection, half down to the response by the players. I mean, the team itself. Me and Baz spoke in the starting 11. We thought we'd go to a 3 at the back with Holgate in it, and instead he opted to bring Pennington in, who had obviously a very eventful day, and play Holgate right wing back, and it just didn't really work, to be honest. But I think one of the big problems was, before we talk about the back, the midfield was just so wide open. It was Tom Davies next to Garner and Ross playing in front of them. And I think one of the big problems was, within 10-20 seconds of the kick-off, Ross goes flying in on one of their players. And whether you think that's good or not, straight away he was basically showing what he was going to do all game, and it's not what we want from him. We want the other side of him. We want the Ross we've seen in the last 2 to 3 months, the ones that we've been raving about. And that was a big problem for me today, was how Ross Barkley approached the game. He was clearly wound up. He was clearly up for it in a way, but he produced the completely wrong side of the game. We won from Ross Barkley. He was jumping in. He was very. The first tackle he did, I think it was on Chan, within like the first 30 seconds. Was go back and watch it. It's pretty poor. And that sort of, the referee let it go, and then he let one of theirs go, and he did that for a little bit because he was letting it was a derby. And I think it was almost like the wrong thing to do. But Ross really, he could have been sent off there. He picked up second half, but second half, he started playing football, and they played him really well today, because they just let him sort of take his frustration out on them rather than playing well. And they just played into their hands. You don't want Ross Barkley doing that. You want Ross Barkley to be controlling the midfield, pulling the strings, slipping Romelu Lukaku into space. And we only seen glimpses of that in the second half, because he was just too wound up. And, he led, and then Tom Davies followed, and he's jumping in a couple of times. Instead of it's probably the poorest game I've actually seen Tom Davies play. There was times when he had little easy passes, but he's trying to do the difficult thing, and then he's losing it, and then he's jumping in, and he got booked. And I think that's what started the problem today for us, is that we didn't settle down into playing how we can play. We played the occasion, not the game. They didn't. They don't have to. To them, it's not. They don't have to play it like it's a big occasion, because in their heads they don't think it's a big occasion. But they certainly don't play it like that, because they just think, well, we'll let these do something stupid and we'll just capitalise, which is essentially what they did every time. The first goal, I mean, 7 minutes in, soon as Garner got turned, and I felt for Garner a little bit today, because he was really exposed. He was really one man on his own in there. We missed Sneijderlin so badly to control that tempo of the ball. But we can't make excuses, because we played so poorly. But Garner got turned, and as soon as he got turned, I thought, no. Mane was running against our centre-backs, and they're all backpedaling, and Pennington's falling over Holgate, and he just picks the corner and just literally rolls it in, and it's 1-0, and we wobbled for a little bit. We got ourselves back in the game, set piece, made up for the lad. Pennington gets it in there, and you just think, right, hold what we've got. take the sting out the game for 10-15 minutes. And we couldn't even do that. And within what was it? I don't know, 3 minutes or something. Coutinho, who'd already done it once, was allowed to cut inside on his right foot and bend one top corner. And we were so exposed down that right, Holgate and Pennington. And I mean, really, Garner does really poorly on the edge of the box, allowing Coutinho to waltz in. But the biggest problem is the mentality. We've shit the bed again. We've turned up at Anfield and it's all the talk of this and that, and obviously Lukaku and Barkley, and you looked at the team and it had Calvert-Lewin in and Pennington, and you're thinking all these fresh young players and Tom Davies, and not worth a carrot. Not worth a carrot, because we go there, and as I say, this is a team that before today had only lost one game at Spurs, and we wilt, and it looks like men against boys. And actually Liverpool didn't have played that well, because they didn't have to play that well, but it looks like men against boys because we just wilted, and we're doing things that we haven't. I mean, Ross Barkley, as I say, Ross Barkley's the key one, because he didn't play his normal game today, and that's the most disappointing thing. And by not playing his normal game, Romelu Lukaku's not finding those pockets of space. And Ross sets the tempo, because he is a class player. And, you know, he's picked up massive in the last 3 months, which has helped us pick up. I mean, it wasn't helped, obviously, by Seamus Coleman not playing. If Seamus Coleman's playing right wing back, or just right back, Ross is going to have a lot more space, a lot more room. In fact, if Seamus played, I think we would have played 4 at the back. And, you know, Ross is going to find a lot of space there by coming off the right and having a free roll. But he didn't, and that's just one of those things. But, you know, they take the lead 2-1. We get to half time. I'm thinking, Ronald, change it, please. We've got a chance here, just because we're only a goal behind. And even, you know, coming into the second half, 10 minutes or so into the second half, I think, just make a change. Just make a change. It was 2-1. We make a change now, positive change. Because really, we're all terrified because we look so bad at the back. Jagielka looked like he was all over the place. Williams, Pennington, they all looked like they were all over the place. And you can't really build any head of steam going forward if your defence looks like it's capable of conceding every time the opposition attack. It doesn't allow... Because what happened was we had 3 at the back and we ended up just having 5 at the back. Because Baines and Holgate just didn't want to go forward. And that meant Calvert-Lewin had to pull wide. And we ended up just having Rom on his own, isolated. And that was the biggest problem, really. We just looked like we were always under the cosh. So you're looking at 2-1 and you're thinking, right, make it positive change. Bring Valencia on or Morales and start pushing these back a little bit. Change, go back to a back 4 and let's get that sorted. But he didn't. They brought Origi on and he scores from absolutely nothing. I mean, the raving on the telly going, oh, what a wonder goal. But if Joel stays on his line, he's just catching that. The gap in the defence for the start that he runs into. How can Jagielka and Williams be that far apart? How? But he runs, and he just hits it first time, and it's like me on Pro Evolution pressing the triangle button down. Someone pressed Joel Robles' triangle button, and he just comes running out, and then just goes, oh, and it looks like an amazing goal, and you're thinking, if he'd stood on your line, you just would have went, huh, and caught that. And that was the death nail, and after that we started playing a little bit of football and started making chances. But that's us, isn't it? That is us, that's the mentality thing. At 3-1 down, there's nothing to lose. He brought Valencia on, he brought Barry on, he went forward at the back, he settled it down. But at 3-1, it's fine. I've spoke about this earlier in the season. When we're getting hammered, or, you know, or there's no, the pressure suddenly... It was like when we played Hull and we were winning, and it was about going on to win the game, and we didn't. When we were drawing in the game, sorry, and we didn't, they took the lead, and then suddenly we looked like a different team because we were chasing the game. And that's what we were there today. They're 3-1 up, and we've got nothing to lose, so suddenly they're popping it off and they're making chances, and because we've already lost the game. It's mentality, and this is the big problem. We still haven't got rid of that mentality. And the only way we'll get rid of that mentality is buying players with big game mentalities. Because look at the game we lost. We lost against Spurs and we lost against Liverpool away. 2 games against top 4 sides that you're already sort of thinking about the defeat before the game. And that's the big problem. They haven't had to work that hard for that win today. We've just imploded again. And people wonder why. Don't get excited for Anfield, because it's the mentality. It's the mentality of the big games. It's not just Liverpool. It's Chelsea. It's Arsenal. For a long time, it was Man United. And the only team that we don't seem to have this mentality is Man City. Because we've beaten them continuously. We go into that, and that was proven when we beat them 4-0. We don't have that. We don't freeze because we've beaten them. We're not terrified because we've beaten them. Today, I really expected some of those players to grow a little bit, and they didn't. They shrunk. And, as I say, Ross, his mentality was just all wrong. But at least his heart was in the right place. And second half, if only he played like he did in the second half and the first half, where he was starting to get the ball and beat people and starting to use his head a little bit. First half, it was just all like, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to be the one and all that, local kid and all that. Second half, he started playing with his head. It was funny, I was speaking to Meatball Molly last week. Good luck to her tonight, by the way. And we were talking about fighting when she fights. And she said, I said, what's it like when someone gives you a little bit of a, someone gives you a little elbow in the face or something? And she went, you've just got to, like, calm down and not rush in there and retaliate, because they'll just pick you off. And that's what it looked like to us today. It was like every time they did something or we made a mistake, Ross Barkley or Tom Davies would charge in and try and make up for it by doing some mad, clever tackle that ended up getting them booked. That's what we looked like today, and they played on that. And that's the mentality. We don't play with our heads when we go to Anfield. And I know we've had players in the past who've been snide, but they're doing the right way. They're clever, and also they're up for it. Duncan Ferguson, Tim Cahill, these kind of players, they're up for it. They love derbies. We don't look like we have any players that like playing in derbies. We don't look like we have any players that are up for playing in derbies. Ross Barkley can run around and kick people all he wants, but that's not helping us. So I don't know how you turn that around. That's up to Ronald Koeman. But maybe he's fell into that trap a little bit today. I know he spoke yesterday and said, what's there to be scared of? But you tell me, Ron, because we look scared. And I'm shocked he didn't start Morales, because Calvert-Lewin, he obviously likes him, but it doesn't affect the game for me enough. And I think someone like Morales knows how to play in these games and knows when to drop in and knows when to go forward. So I was very shocked he didn't play Morales. I mean, the other person I've got to talk about before we finish is Romelu Lukaku. I mean, he was massively starved of any kind of balls today or anything. But every time he got the ball, it was bouncing off him, or he was made to look a bit of a show, wasn't he, today when he got the ball. He never really did anything with it. And we spoke earlier in the week, me and Baz, and said, make yourself a hero. Go out there and prove you're worth the money you're worth. But he just didn't look arsed, did he? Let's be honest, he didn't look arsed. And you wonder. I mean, listen, he scored a lot of goals against a lot of the poorer sides, and that's what most centre-forwards do, to be honest. But you just wonder, when it push comes to shove, is he really going to give us that little bit extra if he doesn't want to be at the club? I don't know. But he was abysmal today. And as I say, they played on our players. They played on them all day. They seen Ross Barkley today. They seen how wound up he was after 30 seconds, and he thought probably, yeah, we'll leave one in there. Let him come into you. Let him clatter you. Let him, I'm not saying they didn't do that, but they did it in different ways. I think Emre Can stood on his, kicked him in the head or something like that. But it was completely not obvious. But that would have wound Ross up even more. And that's what I'm saying. You can't afford to play the occasion. You've got to play the match. You've just got to play your own game. And we've fallen into the trap again. Going there too hyped up and just being done by not playing the game of football. And for an hour, you know, as much, again, it's happened again, as much as they've played well and had chances for an hour, it was only 2-1. We could have got back into it if we just used our heads. But we haven't created anything, have we? Roma hasn't had one shot on target, I don't think. Apart, I think Holgate had one the keeper saved. And apart from that, we've done very, very little. And that's annoying, because we are genuinely a decent side. And we've gone to another top 4 and just fell to bits again. Now, I know there's injuries, but they've got injuries. It's how you approach the game. And we've approached it all wrong today, and we got what we deserved, that, unfortunately. And we had a big chance to have a say in, you know, where we finish this season. I think we've just basically, well, yeah, got to pick ourselves up now. Look forward to Tuesday. And the mad thing is, Tuesday, we'll play a lot better than that. Because it is in Anfield. So, make sure you check out Baz's instant reaction, his player ratings as well. Look out for your comments as well. We take your best comments and we answer them. So yeah, disappointing, but it's a Saturday in the season and we played at Anfield. What's new? Thanks for watching Toffee TV. We'll see you later.